Here is your fully punctuated text. What if I told you that the Vatican just made a move so shocking that it's sending shockwaves through every corner of the Catholic world? What if I revealed that Pope Leo XIV, the 14th, has just appointed one of his most controversial critics to a position that could completely change the future of Christianity as we know it? And what if this appointment is so unexpected that even Vatican insiders are scratching their heads in complete disbelief? Well, buckle up, because what you're about to discover will blow your mind and challenge everything you thought you knew about power, politics, and faith in the modern Catholic Church. If you're ready to uncover the truth behind this earth-shattering Vatican announcement that has religious leaders across the globe talking, then smash that like button right now. Hit subscribe and ring that notification bell, because you absolutely do not want to miss what comes next. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why this single appointment might be the most important religious news story of the decade. Picture this scene if you can imagine it: the ancient halls of Vatican City, where centuries of religious history echo through marble corridors, suddenly erupted with whispered conversations and shocked expressions just days ago. Cardinals who rarely show emotion were seen exchanging bewildered glances, their faces reflecting the kind of surprise that only comes when something truly unexpected happens. The papal offices, normally buzzing with predictable routine, suddenly became centers of intense discussion and speculation. What could possibly cause such a dramatic reaction among some of the world's most composed religious leaders? The answer lies in a decision that Pope Leo XI, the 14th, made, a choice so surprising that it has left Vatican watchers around the world scrambling to understand its implications. We're talking about the appointment of Cardinal Raymond Burke, a man whose relationship with the current pope has been anything but smooth, to a position of significant influence and authority. This isn't just any ordinary church appointment that gets announced and forgotten within a week. This is a move that could reshape the very foundations of how the Catholic Church approaches some of its most challenging and controversial issues. To truly grasp why this appointment is sending shockwaves throughout the religious community, you need to understand who Cardinal Raymond Burke really is and why his relationship with Pope Leo XI, the 14th, has been so complicated. Cardinal Burke isn't just another high-ranking church official who quietly goes about his duties without making waves. He's a man who has never been afraid to speak his mind, even when his opinions put him at odds with the very pope who leads the church he serves so faithfully. Born and raised in America, Cardinal Burke has spent decades climbing the ladder of church hierarchy, earning respect, and sometimes controversy, along the way. His journey to prominence wasn't accidental or lucky. It was the result of unwavering dedication to what he believes are the core principles of Catholic teaching, combined with an intellectual sharpness that few can match. For years, he held the position of prefect of the Supreme Tribunal of the Apostolic Signatura, which sounds incredibly formal and bureaucratic, but in reality, it made him the Vatican's highest-ranking judge, responsible for making decisions on some of the most complex and sensitive legal matters within the Church. But here's where things get really interesting, and why this appointment is so shocking to everyone who follows Vatican politics. Cardinal Burke has built a reputation as one of the most traditional voices in the modern Catholic Church. When progressive Catholics push for changes to long-standing church teachings, Cardinal Burke is often the voice that pushes back, arguing for the preservation of traditional values and interpretations of Catholic doctrine. When discussions arise about allowing divorced and remarried Catholics to receive communion, Cardinal Burke has been one of the most vocal opponents, insisting that church law should remain unchanged. When debates emerge about the Church's approach to LGBTQ+ issues, Cardinal Burke typically advocates for maintaining traditional positions rather than embracing more inclusive approaches. Now, you might be wondering why any of this matters, or why it makes his recent appointment so surprising. Here's the thing that makes this story absolutely fascinating. Pope Leo I, the 14th, has spent his papacy trying to position the Catholic Church as more inclusive, more welcoming, and more willing to engage with modern social issues in ways that previous popes might have avoided. He's the pope who has made headlines for his relatively progressive statements about social justice, environmental protection, and pastoral care for marginalized communities. He's the leader who has suggested that the Church should be more welcoming to people who have traditionally felt excluded or judged by religious institutions. So, when you have a pope who leans toward progressive approaches appointing a cardinal who is known for his traditional stances, you create a situation that nobody saw coming. It's like watching a chess master make a move that seems to contradict their entire strategy, leaving everyone wondering what the real plan might be. The Vatican is a place where every appointment, every statement, and every gesture is analyzed for deeper meaning. And this appointment has given Vatican watchers more material for analysis than they've had in years. The role that Cardinal Burke has been appointed to isn't some ceremonial position where he'll cut ribbons and attend fancy dinners while having minimal actual influence. This is a position with real power, real responsibility, and real potential to influence major decisions that affect millions of Catholics around the world. When someone holds a high-ranking Vatican position, they don't just advise the Pope on Sunday mornings and then disappear for the rest of the week. They're involved in ongoing discussions about church policy, doctrinal interpretations, and responses to contemporary challenges that the Church faces in an ever-changing world. What makes this appointment even more intriguing is the timing. This didn't happen during a quiet period when the Vatican was dealing with routine administrative matters. This appointment comes at a time when the Catholic Church is grappling with numerous challenging issues that require careful navigation and thoughtful leadership. Questions about the role of women in the Church, approaches to marriage and family life, responses to scientific advances that raise ethical questions, and strategies for maintaining relevance in increasingly secular societies are all on the Vatican's agenda. Having Cardinal Burke in a position of influence means that traditional perspectives will have a strong voice in these discussions. But here's where the story gets even more fascinating, and why you need to stick around to hear what happens next. The reaction to this appointment hasn't been uniform or predictable. Some Catholics who share Cardinal Burke's traditional views are celebrating what they see as validation of their beliefs and a sign that the Pope recognizes the importance of maintaining church traditions. They're interpreting this appointment as evidence that Pope Leo XIV, is committed to balancing progressive initiatives with respect for long-standing church teachings. They see it as a wise move that acknowledges the diversity of thought within the Catholic community and ensures that all perspectives are represented in high-level decision-making. On the other hand, progressive Catholics and church reformers are trying to understand what this appointment means for their hopes of continued modernization within the Church. Some are concerned that Cardinal Burke's influence might slow down or reverse some of the progressive initiatives that they've been hoping to see implemented. Others are wondering if this appointment signals a shift in Pope Leo XIV's overall approach, or if it's part of a more complex strategy that isn't immediately obvious to outside observers. The international Catholic community has been buzzing with speculation and analysis since the announcement was made. Religious news outlets around the world have been scrambling to interview Vatican experts, church historians, and theological scholars to try to understand the implications of this surprising move. Catholic universities have been hosting discussions and debates about what this means for the future direction of the Church. Online Catholic communities have been filled with passionate discussions, heated arguments, and thoughtful analyses as people try to process this unexpected development. What's particularly interesting is how different Catholic communities around the world are interpreting this appointment based on their own cultural and regional perspectives. Catholics in traditionally conservative regions are viewing this appointment through one lens, while Catholics in more liberal areas are seeing it through a completely different framework. African Catholics, European Catholics, American Catholics, and Latin American Catholics are all bringing their own experiences and expectations to their analysis of what Cardinal Burke's new role might mean for their local church communities. Vatican insiders, those mysterious figures who understand the complex web of relationships and politics within the Holy See, have been sharing their own theories about why Pope Leo XIV made this particular choice at this particular time. Some suggest that the Pope is trying to build bridges between different factions within the Church by bringing potential critics closer to the center of power. Others propose that this appointment is part of a longer-term strategy to address specific challenges that require Cardinal Burke's particular expertise and perspective. Still others wonder if this move is designed to demonstrate that the Vatican values intellectual diversity and isn't afraid to include voices that might challenge prevailing approaches. The media coverage of this appointment has been extensive and varied, reflecting the genuine surprise and interest that this news has generated. Major newspapers around the world have assigned their religion correspondents to cover the story. Television news programs have featured segments analyzing the appointment and its potential implications. Religious broadcasting networks have dedicated hours of programming to discussing what this means for the Catholic Church and its future direction. Social media platforms have been flooded with reactions, opinions, and predictions from Catholics and non-Catholics alike. But here's what makes this story even more compelling, and why you absolutely need to hear what comes next. This appointment isn't happening in isolation. It's taking place against the backdrop of numerous other challenges and developments within the Catholic Church that make the timing particularly significant. The Church is dealing with ongoing efforts to address past scandals and rebuild trust with Catholic communities around the world. It's navigating complex relationships with governments and secular institutions in various countries. It's responding to changing demographics as Catholic populations grow in some regions while declining in others. It's addressing theological questions raised by scientific advances and evolving social attitudes. In this context, having Cardinal Burke in a position of influence means that these challenges will be approached with his particular perspective and expertise firmly in mind. His deep knowledge of church law, his commitment to traditional interpretations of Catholic teaching, and his experience in Vatican administration will all play important roles in how these issues are addressed. This doesn't necessarily mean that progressive initiatives will be abandoned or that traditional approaches will automatically be favored. But it does mean that discussions and decisions will include voices that might have been less prominent in previous Vatican administration.